My name is Rachel Rofe. I created this show because I wanted to help you see that if you have a choice, you can choose a better life. If you're listening to this podcast, you're in a pretty fortunate position. You have free will, ability to connect to the internet, and access to all kinds of new education. This podcast is meant to help you make the most of your good fortune. We talk with all kinds of people here from all walks of life because I want you to see that no matter what your situation, there's always a way to create a life that you're proud of. Hey, so welcome to today's show. And today we're going to be talking about 5 things that I track in my business every single day. And the reason why I wanted to go over this is because, it's really easy, especially, if you're working for yourself, to feel like you're busy all the time and just constantly have all these things going, but still feel like you're not really making progress, right? So maybe you're still not making any more income, or you're not seeing tangible results, and it just feels crazy to you because you're hustling all the time. So I wanted to go over different things that I track in my business because I feel like when you track results on specific things, specific metrics, then they start to get better because you're conscious about them. If you're tracking, let's say, having how many people are added to your list, you're going to start to focus on adding more people to your list. And your mind's just going to start to go to things that are going to be the most beneficial for you and your business. So today's show is sponsored by podcastprodigy.com. Podcast Prodigy is my premium course that goes over how you can have a podcast of your own. So if you have a business, I think podcasting is a sensational way to get new people into your audience and get your message out there to as many people as possible. And it's also really good for another way for traffic generation. And I have a whole system where I use podcasting to end up turning into articles and blog posts and all this. So if you'd like to learn more about that, then just go to rachelrofe.com/podcasting system. So let's get into the 5 things that I track in my business. So the first thing I mentioned is subscribers to my list. A lot of people say the money's in the list, right? So building a mailing list and having a set base of people that you can email whenever you want to is really, really valuable because basically you have audience on demand. You can run specials. You can communicate with your people, let them know what you have going on. And once they sign up to your mailing list, it's a lot more likely that they're going to see whatever you want to tell them versus relying on things like social media or something where not everybody is going to see. Most people would not argue that building a list is really important. And so what I track every day, or actually I have my assistant track, is every day we track the daily number of how many people were added from the day before to my mailing list. So every single day we look at the total amount of contacts we have for that day. We look at how many have been added from the day before, how many people unsubscribed, what the total difference was, and then the total since tracking how many people have been added. So that's every day. On a weekly basis, we go through and we actually sort out by every single specific campaign, and we look at which campaigns have added people and which have lost people. So when I say campaign, I mean all the different products that I sell. I have different sub mailing lists for them. So let's say Podcast Prodigy. If someone buys that, they go into my campaign in my mailing list called Podcast Prodigy. If they buy my course called the Ultimate Kindle Course, then they're going to go into a campaign called the Ultimate Kindle Course. And so every week I'm tracking to see which products people are unsubscribing or being added to, because this is going to help me understand just what's going on with people. Are my Podcast Prodigy people not liking my content? Are they liking my content? Are the book people maybe unsubscribing because I'm not making it relevant enough to them? It just gives some really good feedback. And then on a monthly basis, I compile the monthly numbers. So I just look at how many people were added in January and February and March. And by looking at this every day, I'm conscious of what I'm doing to bring in new people. So for this, I actually have my assistant go through and run the numbers and I track it. If you'd like to learn more about outsourcing, I have a course. If you go to rachelrofe.com/outsourcing, you can learn more about that. But she'll do this and I'll just check it out every single day, and it helps me tremendously. The second thing that I track every day is my social media numbers. So I do think the mailing list is the most important thing to track, but I also do like tracking social media because that still does send a lot of traffic. So every day my assistant will track how many followers I have on Twitter, Facebook, so both my personal and my fan page, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest. So I know there's other social media sites, but those are the ones that I'm just paying the most attention to right now. The Instagram and YouTube, I can definitely up my game on those things, but I've been tracking them. And, since doing this, since tracking my social media followers, because it's one of these things, when you pay attention, you start to see better results. So on May 1st, I had 3,612 followers on Twitter. On June 1st, I had 4,433. July 1st, 8,334. And then on March 1st, so what is that? 7 months later? As of March 1st, I have 38,676. And now, the last time I've checked, I've had about 41,500 followers on Twitter. So that's a big jump from 3,612 followers on Twitter on May 1st of 2014. And the thing is, I had my Twitter account for many years, but I just wasn't paying attention to it. So now that I am, I get more followers. Pinterest, same thing. That's over doubled since I started tracking. So when I first started, I had 994 followers on there. Now I have 2,294. So is it a ton of followers? Maybe not, but it's still over doubled, and all of those people, Pinterest is such a phenomenal tool for marketing, so I'm really happy with everybody who comes there. Instagram has doubled as well, and I had increases with Facebook too, but since I was banned for so long, I won't really count that. But, just having that everyday tracking is so helpful. Another thing that I track every day, and I've talked about this in previous podcasts, is my finances. So every day with my finances, I like to track the money that's going in and the money that's going out. I actually do this one myself. So I just look at what money has come in and where did it come from? So did I sell a certain course? Is it affiliate income? What's going on there? And then what am I spending? So this helps me with so many things. First of all, it helps me become more conscious with if I'm wanting to make decisions on spending money on things. It helps me when I'm tracking every day what courses are bringing in money. Well, then I know the things that people are responding to. I know, let's say I've promoted something and I'm getting some random sales from it. Well, maybe I'll look into promoting it again. And then I can also, let's say I'm running through and every day I'm seeing that maybe my numbers aren't hitting the goal that I wanted to reach for the month yet. Well, then I know it's time to hustle a little bit and run a special sale or do something to get my numbers up. So finances. And if you go to rachelroffe.com/finance spreadsheet, you can easily just get the free spreadsheet that I use every day. It'll just be a link to my Dropbox spreadsheet and you're welcome to use it. It's super simple. And I still use mint.com, which is a free tracking tool, and that's really helpful too. But just for that, a very specific micro tracking, I really love doing this. The next thing that I track every day is my goals. So I'm all about working backwards from whatever your goals are. So I have another podcast on working backwards from your goals and how to make them happen. I also have a book called Take Control of Your Life, which it's 99 cents. So if you'd like to learn more about how to reach your goals, definitely check that out. And, I just am constantly every day looking at what are my monthly goals and are the actions that I am taking aligning with those goals. So basically, I have my monthly goals and then I'll break them into weekly action steps. So let's say, for example, I want to create a new website. Well, I could probably now make a website in a day, but let's just say if it was hard to do, maybe it was the first time doing it, I might have something like decide on a domain name and buy, some kind of theme week 1. Week 2 might be put content on the site. And I would just break down that main task into weekly action steps. And then from a daily basis, I break down my weekly action steps and I break them down into what I can do every single day to make those goals happen. So hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of a quick walkthrough. With this, just every day when I'm looking at my goals and I'm looking at the tasks that I'm putting on my to-do list, I'm just making sure that these are aligning with my big picture goals. Now, the last thing every day that I do a power hour with my friend. And this is really helpful as well in just tracking and making sure that I'm actually getting things done. So every morning at 8:30, my friend and I, we text each other and we tell each other what we want to get done in the next hour. We call them our power hours. And so I will take some of my goals, which I'd broken down already into my daily action steps, which I talked about, and then I'll pick things to be accountable for that 1 hour. And it just gives a crazy amount of focus because we're both super productive. We're both highly concentrated on getting what we said we're going to get done. And so every day I know so I put my most important action steps, the thing that's going to be the hardest, in that power hour if I haven't done it already, so that I know it's going to get done. So I'm just tracking what is the hardest thing to get done, and then how can I make that happen right away so it's not just looming over my head. So hopefully that helps just give you an idea of some really important things that you can track in your business. Again, to recap, we have subscribers to your list, your social media, finances, your overall goals, and then breaking it down to your power hour every single day. Now, hopefully you can see that by doing this, it just gives you such focus on the most important drivers in your business. And you might also want to, for you, depending on how your business is, like right now I have customer service automated, I have other things automated. If there's other touch points that are really important to you, then maybe you track those as well. But tracking in general, I think, is extremely, extremely helpful. So hopefully this helped you. I hope that it did. Once again, it was sponsored by Podcast Prodigy. So you can either go to podcastprodigy.com for the course, or if you want to go to rachelrofay.com/podcasting system, you'll learn about how I use podcasts to go and turn into all kinds of other traffic methods to get as many people as possible over onto my website and onto my mailing list. All right, have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to A Better Life. You can find all show notes for this episode at rachelrofay.com. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe so you can automatically get access to all new shows. Let's also connect. Just go onto Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram /RachelRofay, and we can talk there. The opinions of all guests here are their own, and I'm not necessarily endorsing any of them. I do want to give you perspective, though. And always remember, if you have a choice, choose a better life.